Good evening, Arsenal and footballing community. As the title says, Arsenal dropped more points. Fulham won, Arsenal won. Absolutely plenty to discuss. But before we get into it, let's smash the Albert JTV intro. And I can see the logic behind the signing, even though some Arsenal fans...
We actually worked a good passage of play.
Arsenal and footballing community, like, share, and most importantly, subscribe to Albert JTV. Good evening, Arsenal community. Welcome back to Albert JTV on this late Sunday evening. Big up to the people tuning in. Big shout out to the Arsenal away fans that went today. So much to discuss about Arsenal. How am I going to even start the stream? Let me get the customary things out of the way first. Smash the like button already on your arrival, or when you watch this back on YouTube, maybe even on the Facebook page as well. Also going live on the X feed. So people retweet, like, share, do everything you can possible to cheer me up on this late Sunday evening, or latest Sunday evening. So audio listeners, of course, you'll never be forgotten. So look out for the downloads on particularly Spotify and Apple. Big up to the people that supported my channel through the audio listening platform. It's absolutely much appreciated. I obviously appreciate you can't always watch my content live as it is on the time, or even from a visual point of view. So thank God for audio. And also, before I get into it, big up to the Arsenal ladies. 4-0 home win, right? Is it home win? Yes, we played at home. Aston Villa. So big win. Let the wins continue for the Arsenal ladies. But yeah, Arsenal, let's get into it, people. Today, 1-1 draw Fulham. Let me adjust the camera. That's a bit better. Yeah, 2 points dropped, man. Absolutely. More points dropped, should I say. Because I'm not just talking about today. I'm talking about Arsenal throughout this course of this season, even coming into the second week of December. So team lineups, let's have a quick look. Who do we have? So David Raya in goal, Thomas Partey at right back, Euron Timber at left back, partnership of Saliba and Kivior, Erdegaard, Jorginho, Rice, Saka, Havertz, and Trossard started the game against Fulham today. To be fair, a lot of people said when you take our games in blocks, for example, that they kind of feared the Fulham game, not because we couldn't go to Craven Cottage and win, which we didn't do, but sort of the prep a few days before the game. Not in a disrespectful way, not that they wasn't concerned about Manchester United, but Fulham one was like, off the back of last season, we owed them. Off the back of last season, I want to see a better performance. Off the back of last season, you want to hope that the team are learning to turn these type of games, which every Arsenal fan across the globe or the planet has said. When you look back at our league table form last season, yes, it was a good 2024. But you look at the games where we dropped points and subsequently why we didn't win the league last season. And Fulham away was one of them, as well as the home game, which we drew. So we had to put right what was wrong last season. And as a result, we didn't do that. But we're going to break it down a little bit more. But there was enough in the team to start. Look, I think there was a chance that Calafiore and Gabriel wouldn't play. So I wasn't totally shocked that they wasn't in the sides. They wasn't in the side, should I say, because we got a game, obviously, on Tuesday night against Monaco. So you might see maybe one or two of them starting that game, but listen, they weren't going to be risked for today. Fair enough. That's why you have squad depth and players to come in. But yeah, in terms of the first half, listen. Oh dear. Let me get that out of the system before I carry on. We was dominant. Fulham couldn't get a kick. Oh God, excuse you people. That is not going to sound good on the audio. Sneezing my lungs out. Oh God, let me try and get that under control, man. I don't know. Why is it starting in the live stream? Anyways, let me not digress. So yeah, we dominated possession. Fulham couldn't really get out of their half, to be honest with you, particularly almost the same as the carbon copy of the West Ham game a few games ago now. But unbelievably, after 10 minutes, Fulham's first attack. Now, when you watch it in real time, you're like, oh, God damn, we've conceded 1-0 down. So you look at it back again. Listen, when I played football a very long time ago, I'm a forward player. I was a striker. So I appreciate movement and trying to pull defenders out of position and going in and coming back out and spinning off defenders. So in terms of Jimenez, it's a good movement. It's a good pass. I think it was Kenny Tete that played the pass, I think. But Jaco Kivius just completely lost him. Yes, you can talk about the pass, but from a defensive point of view, just lost him. Some people said that maybe Saliba could have got across a little bit quicker. Having watched it back, he wasn't exactly jogging in terms of coming across Jimenez. He got there, but he didn't get there quick enough. And lo and behold, Arsenal community, we are 1-0 down. And you think to yourself, this is not a way to start a game, man. I don't particularly think we're very good at making comebacks this season. Personally, from watching the games this season when we've gone 1-0 down. A great finish by Jimenez. I'll give him credit for that. He's a striker I've really liked actually for a number of years before awful head injury that he got at Wolves, but the fact he's playing football again is a miracle in itself. So, we find ourselves 1-0 down. Just like that out of nowhere. Like I said, totally dominant. But I think the issue I had, particularly with Arsenal in the first half, and it'd be interesting to know what you guys think, is although we had a lot of possession, to me, there was too many points in that first half where there was lack of movement and it was too static. Too static. If you watch football in terms of the Premier League, for example, I always say this about Liverpool, for example, ruthless. Top end of the pitch, killers. City, Haaland. Chelsea, wingers coming out of their ears. Movement of Jackson. The X factor in Cole Palmer. And we lacked any of that today. Now, you know how much I love Saka. You know how much Martin Odegaard is a plus getting him back in the team since the Chelsea game. But again, to me, it actually doesn't really matter if you have these guys on the pitch when the movement is too slow or it's non-existent and we're too static. You cannot break teams down. I don't care if you're playing away from home, London derbies, bottom six, relegation battle teams. You have to move the ball quicker. There needs to be more movement. People might argue and say, why is Martinelli not starting? Which will come on to him a little bit in the stream. But it was just too static for me, Arsenal. But even having said that, people said Saliba could have scored in the first 3 minutes, possibly. Declan Rice made some really good runs throughout the course of the match, not just in the first half. Had an opportunity which he smacked wide. Saka got in a couple of times down there, left-hand side, had a good battle with Anthony Robinson, actually, which I knew they would do anyway. But we go into the latter stages of the first half. And actually, if you think about it, really, I don't think we actually had, if I've got it right, I've got the stats for the match, but in the first half, I don't think we had a shot on target. That's not the first time that's happened, if that's true. Or if it was one shot, you have to tell me which shot was on target, because I don't think there was. Got to work the goalkeeper. For that amount of possession you have of the football in excess of 60%, what are we doing when we get to the final third? That's the key thing. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Let me put the microphone in a bit closer. 2 secs, people. Yeah, it's just too static, man, watching that. Glad I never done a watch along for that game, to be honest with you, because it's just frustrating watching us play this season. Whether we're ahead in games or we're behind in games. I almost feel like with Arsenal, and it's not just in terms of talking about the first half, it's about the result today. And games like this. You know, the Liverpool-Everton game got called off yesterday. So I thought, when I saw that come through on my phone when I was at work, I was like, that's a good thing. That is a good thing. Yes, for example, it's a Merseyside derby. Let me get that in there. But at least it gives Arsenal an opportunity to say, you know what, look, we can close the gap to 4 points. That's another opportunity to try and get closer to Liverpool. Because if they slip up, you need to be ready to take advantage. So that we had that as a yardstick to kind of measure up against. But again, like I said, all that possession once again in the game of football in the Premier League for Arsenal, and no shots on target. How are you supposed to get back into games or challenge for league titles on a consistent basis when the basic fundamentals of where you are as a club, trying to overhaul a Man City and the way Liverpool started the season and the re-emergence of Chelsea under Enzo Maresca. Yeah, there's a couple of issues with them in terms of maybe they haven't got a great goalkeeper and there's still some frailties defensively, but they've got Cole Palmer and they've got wingers coming out the rears, Neto, Madueke, and Kunku, Jackson. They've got forward players that can hurt you. Probably still trying to figure it out a little bit in the midfield, but that's where we are. Let me come to the chat quickly. Yes, big up Suge, man. Go on, brother. Smash the like, man. Good to see you pop in, man. Having a therapeutic live stream on a Sunday evening here in the UK, which I know you're many, many hours ahead. So You have to remind me, Suj, what time you actually are. Big up, Suj people. Loyal subscriber to the channel and follower. So thank you, man. But yeah, disappointing day. You know what it is, Suj? I was watching the Spurs Chelsea game, and obviously it's fantastic when Spurs lose. But I'm gonna be honest, yeah. As much as we ridicule our rivals when they lose, I actually couldn't care less today what happened to them. I generally couldn't care less. I was so annoyed with the result today. I actually couldn't care that Tottenham lost, if I'm going to be really, really honest with you, because we have to take care of what we have to do. And, Chelsea sit in second place now. Is that right? 4 points behind. Arsenal missed an opportunity to apply pressure. Big up Suj, man. Almost 5 a.m, brother. Love, bro. But yeah, second half. So the thing is, you know what it is? I was listening to wherever you guys watch the game. Obviously, I watch here. Obviously, I've got listeners that are not in the UK. So on Sky Sports, they're talking in the studio, Paul Merson and James Redknapp. And one thing with Mikel, which he doesn't do, unless it's forced upon him in terms of injury, maybe I'd have to go back through some of the games and analyze what happens at half times. But it's very rare he'll make a substitution at half time to tactically affect a game. I can't remember many games he's done that. So I would have made the changes. I would have made a change, bringing on Martinelli personally, just to get us more pace and get their fullback in Tete on the back foot. But Mikel doesn't do that. He typically doesn't do that. He doesn't make changes at halftime. He just doesn't, even if a game's going a certain way. But the second half, listen, we get the goal within 7 minutes at the restart of the second half, with our main man, again, 2 goals in 2 games for this gentleman in Saliba. It was very tight. I mean, obviously the Arsenal fans at the game probably thought, oh God, here we go again. But it looked tight when I first saw it. When I watched it back again, he was definitely onside, because you could see Anthony Robinson's left foot was playing Saliba onside. So we're back in business. Arsenal set piece kings again. Ole ole. And we're back in the game, and we can go and try and get the second goal. And you know what it is? There's moments in games where you have to sense blood. And we camped Fulham in their second half. Rice again was making really good runs into the final third. Arsenal raised their level. The only thing I didn't enjoy during the course of the game was the co-commentary, because we had Chris Sutton on Sky Sports with the co-commentary. I was like, oh God. Yeah, that's the one voice that could definitely drive you to sleep. But listen, we get the goal again from our set piece deliveries. William Saliba, that's 2 in 2 for him. Fantastic. This guy knows I love the way he celebrates, man. It's amazing. And you're thinking, you know what? Let's go and get that second goal and really rubber stamp our authority on this game. And it didn't happen. We huffed and we puffed. But during games, there's pivotal moments. And there was a pivotal moment on 69 minutes. Thomas Partey's got to score that. I mean, I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I understand probably head is not his best forte, but you cannot miss that chance. Game's 1-1 at the time. We've got the goal 10, 13 minutes earlier with Saliba bringing us back into it. Thomas Partey's got to score that. You cannot miss it by that width. That's a poor effort. We worked the space fantastically well from the set piece. He's got to score that. And then we go 2-1, different ball game. But it's a bad miss. It's a really bad miss. And we made some substitutions. I personally would have bought on Martinelli a bit earlier, but we'll discuss him a little bit more in detail in the very short space of time we will, trust me. But I would like to see Nwaneri come on sooner. That's my own personal opinion. But here's my issue. Let's get into it. Big up to the people watching now. Like I said, smash the like button if you haven't already. My social media handles are at the bottom of the screen if you're watching live on YouTube and on Facebook, and also on the X feed, stroke Twitter. If you listen on audio, Twitter handle at AUMO57, and for Instagram at AUMO15. If you don't understand my Southeast London dulcet tones. But here's my issue with the substitutions. Yes, I would have bought a Martinelli earlier, and he bought him on, bought Trossard off. My issue with Arsenal is when we make subs, and let's be honest, if you go through the course of, in particular, Premier League campaign, you can talk about, you can, what's what I'm looking for? You can also talk about the Champions League games as well. But if I'm talking specifically about the Premier League games, do our substitutions really affect the game in a positive when we make them? The only substitution I personally get excited about coming on, because I believe he can make a change and get us on the front foot and be that X factor, is Ethan Nwaneri. When Jesus comes on, I'm not expecting big things. When Martinelli comes on, I'm not expecting big things. I'm not. Moreno's had a run of games where that's been starting or sub. Did he change the game for us? Did he affect the game for us? Did he give us an extra 2 or 3% in terms of our attacking impetus? Questionable. Jesus hasn't scored. I can't remember the last time he scored for Arsenal. Someone please drop that in the chat, or when they watch this back. It's been long enough, put it that way. You saw when Rice put that beautiful ball into him in the second half. And a top level striker, and I've said this time and time again before, anticipates that and gets on the end of it. Whether he scores or not is another factor. And if it's a top level striker, you know what? There's a good chance they are going to score in that position. He's hesitating, watching, not being brave. You have to be brave in that instant, because you're chasing the game to go and get ahead to be 2-1. You have to. If I was Rice, I'd have been a bit peeved off at him, to be honest with you, because it was a brilliant ball. I'd look at our substitutions. Like I said, I don't see them causing and affecting the game unless it's Nwaneri. If you're honest, if you ask yourself the question, if you just took a crash course of the Premier League games Arsenal played this season, you pick out a handful of games where you said, flipping hell, Jesus has turned the game for us today. Trossard has turned the game for us today. Yes, Villa away, opening game of the season. Yes, Martinelli's changed the game for us. Yeah, he may stretch the defense a little bit, Martinelli, possibly. But he came on. I don't think he affected the game at all. I thought he was poor. I thought he was very poor. And I think it summed it up with the disallowed goal for Saka. If I can find, where's it gone now? I can't see it. There it is. Yeah, I think it summed it up with Martinelli in terms of the being offside for the goal. And I'll be honest, when I was watching the game and they said VAR check, I thought to myself instantly, they must be looking at Saka. And they go, no, it's like it's Martinelli was the offside. I'm like, how can it be offside from that position? I'm in a couple of group chats and they were saying, oh, maybe Nwaneri could have released the ball quicker. Not having that. You are a wide forward. You're not an up-and-coming kid coming into the team at 16, 17. You're 23 now, Martinelli. These things are the things you learn growing up as a kid, what you're taught. Look along the line. You shouldn't be offside. I don't care if it was tight. You should not be offside in that position. That to me is unforgivable, because at the end of the day, we got that goal with on the 87th minute, Saka doing what wing players should be doing in that position, coming in from your flank, attacking the far post. You put us 2-1 up. It looks like we're going to rescue a 2-1 coming out of the cottage, or the cottage, as people say. But he's offside. And I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. for anyone that hasn't heard it or has heard it. Let me come to Suge quickly. Let me come to your chat, brother. Of course not. Our players are severely out of form or not game changing. Yeah, the latter part for me more so, Suge. I've watched Arsenal through. People can criticize Arteta for not making subs quicker, but I'm going to look at it from the point of view when they do come on. What are they doing? Are they impacting the game? Are they winning us games of football? Are they contributing? And by and large, they're not. And come back to Martinelli. Suge, you probably heard me say this before, and people heard me say this before. I look at Wiggins in the league or wide forwards. I don't care whether they play on the right or the left. I'm just using them as examples. And if people have watched my content long enough, I love Arsenal. Been a fan since the late 80s, early 90s, for as long as I can remember. Probably been an Arsenal fan longer than I've been eating jollof rice and chicken. Big up my Nigerian brothers or African brothers. If you know, you know. But I'm watching him play, and I look at Anthony Gordon at Newcastle. I spoke about this with Judges when he came on my channel last week after the Manchester United game. I look at Noni Madueke at Chelsea. I look at Callum Hudson-Odoi at Forest. I look at Kudos at West Ham. Arsenal fans, ask yourself an honest question. Deadly serious question. I know it's difficult for some sections of our fan base to take sentiment out of it. I don't do the sentiment thing. When something's wrong, it's wrong. When somebody's not improving the side, they're not improving the side. Doesn't mean you're being negative or you're not supporting the club. If you don't want to listen to me or other podcasters, as an Arsenal fan, watch the game yourself and you tell yourself, is this guy causing and affecting the game in a positive way? I.e. Martinelli's not. All the wingers I've just mentioned, I would take all of them ahead of him on current form and from what I've seen in the last 12 months. You can blame that on the manager not playing him week in, week out. I actually think Arteta has given him quite a good run of games this season, I'm going to be honest. In my humble opinion, people might disagree, fine. Disagree. But like I said, I mentioned the wingers, I mentioned for a specific reason. For me, and it's not like they're a little bit ahead of him. They're quite considerably ahead of him in terms of end product, goals, and absolutely the key thing I've said about Martinelli, 2 words, decision-making. I even go further, critical thinking in the final third. It's not good enough. He's 23. He's not a child. He's not a kid. He's at his stage of his career, and I said this before on a stream, I think it was my channel or something else, I'd love to know his career stats in terms of assists. Part of the goals, I'm talking about assists. You know, Saka's a goal machine and an assist machine. Martinelli, for a player that plays in that position, should have a lot more assists. And that was criminal play to get caught offside like that. That's unforgivable. That may be a strong word for some people, but it's true. Let me come to the chat quickly. Yeah, 1 goal in the Carabao Cup game and shit. That's it. You can't. Oh, Suge, man. Arsenal fans. Seriously, man. You know what's frustrating me? And I don't really normally swear on my stream, so it might happen tonight or on a future stream. I'm watching the Chelsea side, and I wouldn't have picked them to have done as well as they've done this season if I'm going to be honest in the league. But they've got X factor in their team. They've got pace galore, trickery galore, game changers galore. Liverpool, ruthless killers up front, top end of the pitch. 2 brilliant centre halves, by the way. We waxed lyrical about Saliba and Gabriel. Konate and Virgil van Dijk have been excellent. Excellent. There you go. Look, 0 goals in 12 appearances this season. I watched him come on today. I don't know what he done. I don't know what he does when he comes on in some of the other games he's been brought on. The manager clearly doesn't have any faith in him. And I go back to, listen, I've clipped videos on my channel before I said to you. And it's not just about a striker scoring goals. I'm talking about what a striker can offer in terms of their movement, moving defenders around. cannot be going for a league title push for the third year in a row, and you haven't got a killer up front. Havertz today, poor from a passenger. And for me, he's been a passenger for a few games. Like I say, if anybody's watched my content, I don't use certain names just for the sake of using it. Use your own two eyes if you don't want to listen to me. Have you been pleased with what you've seen with him so far recently? Yes, he put in a Trojan away performance against Spurs. He got a brilliant goal against PSG. He scored a very good goal against Brighton, but then in that game he should have got a second when it was 1-1. We had 10 men. A killer in the box or a main man or a target man. I've spoken about this time and time again, and I'll keep speaking about it. You need that option at the end of the pitch. It's all well having your Erdegaards and your Sakas and your Thomas Partey's, but it's that extra 2-3%, which Mikel Arteta was very well aware of when it came to the goalkeeping situation. Apply that to the top end of the pitch. I mean, I look at it. Right, I was looking at the league table quickly before I came live. Big up Matthew in the chat. I can see you, brother. Arsenal have drawn the most games in the top 6 this season in the Premier League. Out of the top 6 times. To go even further, I think I got this right. Arsenal drew 5 games last season in the Premier League. And even then coming into this season, I said it's too much. Too many draws last season. We've already drawn 5 this season. And we're coming into the second week of December. And we've already drawn 5 Premier League games. That was the whole amount of games we drew last season. Brighton, 1-1 at home. Chelsea, draw away. Fulham, 1-1 draw today. Liverpool, 2-2 draw at home. Man City, the draw at the Etihad. Moments away against City, that's 2 points. 2-point drop today, that's 4 points. For me, had to beat Liverpool at home. That's another 2 points. That's already 6 points. And I haven't even gone through the other 2 games yet. Arsenal, look, there's a good chance we won't need 90 points to win the league this season. One of my barometers for Arsenal to go and get the Premier League title, people, is that we go and hit that 90-plus point mark to give us a chance. And that's a chance. We never saw City, what is that, one winning 8? One winning 8 or 9 for them now? Arsenal have this almost handicap where we fail to take opportunities to capitalize, and it's pissing me off. It's not the first time. Suge, Matthew in the chat, Nick, it's not the first time. I'm almost sitting there. I'm doing streams now with Arsenal this season, going on as a guest on chat onto podcasts with Potsy or Tom or do my own channel or going on Hybrid Squad. I'm copy pasting, repeating. I said it after the Newcastle game at St James's Park. I watched that game closely, and Arsenal were horrendous that day. Don't get me wrong, but I also watched the team and I said to myself, this team can't win the league. Ask yourself what honest questions as an Arsenal fan. Take the sentiment out of it. Take the emotion out of it. If you can even possibly do those 2 things. You look at results like today. You look at the Newcastle away game. What's telling you that Arsenal can fix this? People are talking about Enzo Maresca. I was on Big Up my Liverpool guy, Doug. We're talking about potential managers being sacked or being in trouble at the start of the season. A lot of people said Maresca just because of the way Chelsea are run. Now, coming up, he's not been a coach a long time as well, to be honest. Won the championship with Leicester. Yes, just because you've got a lot of players doesn't necessarily mean you're necessarily going to be a top coach or you're going to be able to manage that group of players. He's doing an excellent job so far. Fair play to him, actually. Because you know the history and the tradition of Chelsea Football Club. Arne Slot. Big shoes to fill at Liverpool. Look what he's doing. Arsenal, 5 games already withdrawn this season. the same as last season. And when it's coming into the second week of December, this is not title-winning form or title-winning surge or giving us as Arsenal fans confidence that we're going to go and push for this league title really, really hard. Of course, the players ain't going out there to go and get draws on purpose. Of course they're not. But Thomas Partey, the header today, that's unforgivable. You shouldn't be missing that. Getting caught offside. I talk about X Factor with Cole Palmer. We have that on our bench, but he's been warming it for most of the season. And I hear all this talk about, oh, he's young and Arteta wants to coax him in slowly. He's not the only youngster in the history of football to be given your Rooneys or your Harvey Elliott's or your James Milner when he broke into the lead side when he was 16. The guy's ready, man. He's X Factor. A couple moments there, got into nice turns and it gives you something different. If it means you got at somehow during the stage of the season, you can try and get him and Ødegaard on the pitch, you do it. You do it. Utilize the squad. Let me come back to the chat quickly, man. Because I feel like I feel like I'm heating up. Let me come to chat, people, all the listeners, so bear with us. Havertz was always ever going to be a top stopgap and a good squad player. However, the money we paid, wages was the money you pay for a 20-goal striker. Matthew, 100% spot on. And if any Arsenal fan disagrees with what you just said, then I think they're living in cloud cuckoo land. So Matthew, I'll back you with that 100%. The money we spent on him, and by the way, when I said he was a passenger today, I've heard many people say that about some of his performances this season. I'm not saying Kai Havertz is a poor player, but what I'm trying to say is, whether you're a team chasing the title, for European places, to avoid relegation, you need someone to put the ball in the back of the net. Look at where Chris Wood's playing at Nottingham Forest. In the form of his life. His life. It's just, I'm looking at Arsenal and I'm thinking to myself, we brought Sterling to the club. The man turned 30, so I think he sat on what a great birthday, sitting on the bench. I mean, that loan signing now, or maybe in the last few weeks, if we're going to be really honest, and if you look at it as a whole, that loan signing is a farce. Is he not fit? Is he not ready? Did Enzo Maresca see something with Sterling that he thought, nah, he's not for me? Well, he clearly thought that because he moved him on. So I don't know with Arsenal. I mean, we've got a Champions League game on Tuesday against Monaco. And then we've got Everton at home next Saturday. I won't be going to because I'll be at work. So there's no way I can finish work early and go to that game. And to be honest, I haven't tried to get a ticket. I didn't get one in the ballot anyway. No, I didn't apply for one, actually, to be fair, because I knew that during the whole of December, I'm going to be working the Saturday. So, listen, we've got to pay the bills, right? And Arsenal ain't bloody making me feel any happy at the moment. But yeah, it's... what annoyed me is we knew what this is a carbon copy of Newcastle last season. So we knew going into St. James's Park a few weeks ago that we owed them from last season. Worst display of the season. Today, we dominated possession. We're creating a lot. But you know what? Again, Rice had a couple good opportunities. Jesus not anticipating in the second half. Thomas Partey missing a gilt-edged header. Martinelli not staying on side. These are all factors, man. They add up. And we find ourselves in a position where we are the chasers and we're not doing a very good job of it. Like I said, if you're asked, it's like you take one step forward, you take 2 steps back. We knew we had to win today. A draw wasn't good enough before the game. And it wasn't when the game's done. I'm not saying Craven Cottage is a place you come and just steamroll Fulham, but they've been a very strange team this season, some of the results they've got. You know, 1 attack, 1 goal. They won up at half time. How are we in this position? This is insane. I guess that's football. But people, man, what we in 39 minutes? God, I thought I was only talking for about 10 minutes. Jeez, man. Time's flown, but listen, man. this Arsenal team put us through the ringer, but it's difficult for Arsenal fans to stay positive when you know what we have to do. They know what they have to do. I know people talk about January, for example, and I saw Jews on the panel that day when Dan Potts had the phone-in show on the 12-man podcast, and I said, any Arsenal fan, whether you're late teens, early 20s, 30s, in my case, 40s, 50s, whatever old you are, if you look at Arsenal's transfer dealings in January in the last 10, 15 years, that wouldn't fill you with any confidence. And if they do address it, I would love to see where they're going to address it, Arsenal. I'd look at that with a fine-tooth comb. Mad. So yeah, it's I'm looking at other teams, looking at Liverpool, looking at Chelsea, and I see pace, I see power, I see X factor, I see them winning games of football. With Liverpool defensively, they look good as well as going forward. Chelsea, they've got match winners all over the place. They've got pace and width all over the place. And Arsenal, at the moment, we're bringing on players to impact games, and as Sue said, they're either out of form or they're just not good enough. What do you want me to say? Can they turn it around? Of course you can turn things around. But in order to do that, the manager's got to have faith in you. And quite clearly, from the substitutions in recent games or this season, he doesn't have faith in them. Because if they had faith in them, they'd be starting more games. But even when the games he's bringing them on, they're not impacting the games. They're not making any difference whatsoever. Like I said, I spoke with judges the other day about Martinelli. It's worrying now. I look at him. I don't see him beat his man. I don't think fullbacks even fear him, to be totally honest. But Arsenal, yeah, Havertz looked like a passenger the last few games. I don't know if people agree or disagree, but he has. And if you're going to be playing in that position in the Arsenal side, you best believe you better be scoring 20 plus goals. But that's not the case. Let me come to the chat quickly because I'm going to wrap up soon, people. Yeah, I absolutely agree with what Matthew said. He's spot on. Absolutely spot on, Matthew, mate. Yeah, and the mad thing with Sterling, yeah, he's on a lot of money at Chelsea, so I don't know what Arsenal subsidizing in terms of that deal. But listen, we're Arsenal fans. It's not our duty. It's not our responsibility for Arsenal to be getting in the right players that are the right fit. That's not our responsibility. Against opponents like this, we seem so reliant on not conceding first. If we do, it's a long slog. Yeah, it is. It's painful. That's why sometimes I'm glad I haven't done the watch-alongs this season. I think I'd end up just keeling over. And then you definitely see the grey hairs coming through. Trust me. We won't identify an issue because of Arteta's ego. Yeah, that's a big issue. That's a big factor of it as well. 100%. Because if it isn't ego, then what is it? Even versus Man United, we only started opening up and looked dangerous from open play after we scored from a corner. Yeah, because they had to come out and play. You're right. You're absolutely right. Because for 50 minutes, they were very well structured. And actually, they probably had more ball. They probably had more of the ball than we did. They went more direct because you know what? You know why? It's not about, let me make this clear. It's not about whether you rate Rasmus Højlund or not for United. The fact is they had a main man up front so they could ping in early. They could get the ball forward quicker. And that's what happens when you've got a man that is a striker. Not someone who's filling in, nobody who's a stopgap, not somebody who's going to score once and doesn't appear for 70, 80 minutes of important games you need to win. Because that's what's happening at the moment. You're looking at the likes of Jesus to come on and Martinelli. With the way they're both playing at the moment, they're not match winners. At the moment, we need match winners to try and plug back this gap from Liverpool. But we'll see. We'll see, people. We'll see. AFC, always big up to you, man. There's always something fundamentally wrong at Arsenal Football Club. I hear your point, man. Whether it be the January transfer window, I'm looking at some of the players that are coming on in games to affect games. I look at the way we are not incisive in the final third. And if you look through our actual squad, what's this? Saliba's third season. Gabriel's been here a minute now. Thomas Partey's been here a few years. Declan Rice is Premier League proven, so we know what he's getting. He's getting him. Saka's been a mainstay for a few years. Odegaard's been a mainstay. Martinelli's been here he's been here since for 5 years now, if I've got that right. These are not kids going for a league title. The next step is the most important step, and that's getting over the line. But with what I'm seeing at the moment, it's a hard watch of Arsenal because, like I said, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. 1 step forward, 2 steps back, and that's not the first time I feel like that this season with Arsenal. You know, our team can spoil a weekend or an evening, or time with the missus, or time with the dogs, or whatever it may be, your friends, because they just put in these performances where it's a mixture of Arteta's ego, stubbornness, Arsenal's ability on the pitch in terms of delivering in the final third, being ruthless. We need to be more ruthless over a sustained period of games, not just a one-off game against West Ham at the London Stadium. I'm talking a successive run of games, putting teams to the sword, or not even putting teams to the sword, putting yourself in a position where you're not chasing games. And you never know where it might get us. But people, let me come to chat quickly before we disappear. Audio listeners, just going through the chat boxes to see my amazing people in the chat. See, our game was at midnight, working now on no sleep. This is what Arsenal does to you. Yeah, it's true, man. Big up to you, Suge, man. 800 million spent, not good enough. Match winners in the team, and that's the thing. I mentioned I see it always. I don't know how long you've been watching the stream for, or you might watch it back, but I look at Liverpool and Chelsea, and there's a combination of so many things. There's pace, there's power, there's trickery, there's wizardry, there's X factor in the team, there's wild cards, there's mavericks. I'm not sure we have that at Arsenal, to be honest. Some weeks people say our bench is good. Some people say that it's not. Some people say that it's weak. And I think that the fact that we have that conversation amongst us as Arsenal fans shows there's work to be done. I didn't have Arsenal down to win the Premier League this season. At the start of the season, it was City, Arsenal, Liverpool. Never factored Chelsea in. Absolutely not. But like I said to people, when we sort of first 10, 11 games, it's only November. I said to people, once we get through December, past the Christmas period, into the new year, we cannot turn around as Arsenal fans and say it's only 15, 20 games. The title could be gone by then. You could even arguably argue a case it's difficult to obtain now. One with the way Arsenal, like I said, already drawn 5 games. And obviously 2 defeats. Points he drops. There's a lot of games already in that cluster. And that's what Arsenal had to avoid coming into this season. But we haven't. We haven't. You know, people were talking about a few weeks ago saying, oh, you know, look at the games Arsenal have had to play. What are we doing here as Arsenal fans, man? We're Arsenal Football Club. You're talking... Us as fans have been saying for years that we want a team that is consistently challenging for Premier League titles. And yet you've got people sitting on social media in recent weeks talking about, oh, look at the teams we've had to play. I'm thinking, but we're going for a league title. So you tell me as an Arsenal fan, right? Let's do this. Let's do it. You tell me as an Arsenal fan, right? What games do you want to cherry pick that are going to be okay for Arsenal to be established, going for a Premier League title through the course of the season, or the first few months of the season, to be precise? What games would you handpick for us then, if you thought the games within the first 2 months are too difficult? We're Arsenal Football Club, you know. You want us to go for a league title, yet you're talking about, oh, we've had to play this team away, we've had to play this team at home. What are you talking about? How many teams do you think can go for the league? Of course it's going to be us. City, Liverpool. That's 3 teams. I don't know. I have to speak to some of my Arsenal people and Chelsea people, and well, I don't know really many City people, to be honest. But do their fans speak like this? No disrespect. We've also played Leicester in that running, by the way. We've played who's the other promoted side? Southampton. Fulham today. We haven't played, the big guns in the top 10. It's not always been them or the top 6. So Arsenal fans, we need to stop doing this. You tell me, you write down a fixture of games which is acceptable for you as an Arsenal fan for Arsenal to start their league title run in a good fashion without you saying the games are too difficult or look who we've had to play. Oh, what's the one I tend to hear? Liverpool haven't played anyone. What are you talking about? They beat City. They drew with us. They beat Chelsea. What do you mean they haven't played anyone? What are you talking about? Drives me mad when I hear that kind of talk from Arsenal fans. I just don't understand why you're almost kind of, if I'm going to be honest, the only word I can think of is you're making excuses. Ridiculous. But anyways, yeah, man, like, it makes me sick. I sit back sometimes, even as a content creator, or just being on social media, and I sit back and I see people post things. I'm like, okay, so you're sitting on TikTok, you're sitting on X, you're sitting on Instagram talking about, oh, but look who Arsenal have played. What are you talking about? Do you want us to play Millwall, Coventry, Huddersfield Town? And then you want to say, oh, but the other teams haven't played any big teams. It's complete bollocks. It's total bollocks. But that's my thoughts, man. What do I know? What do I know? I might even clip that and put it out, man, because I just don't get some of our fan base. I find it strange. Because you have weeks where, oh, we've got to beat that team. We've got to roll over that team. But then on the same token, we don't win or we draw. Oh yeah, but yeah, look at the fixture run we've had. If you're talking like that now in the Premier League, what bloody hope do you think as an Arsenal fan we're going to have in Europe? Answer that question then. Or do you think we're going to do a Porto with Mourinho when he won the Champions League or when he won it with Inter? Yeah, because you talk about quality of opposition. So what do you think we're just gonna cakewalk it and walk to the Champions League final in May by playing mediocre teams? Come on, man. Let's talk sense here. Yeah, Clifford, bro. Yeah, I probably will, to be honest with you. I will. I just don't get it. Like, you can't have it both ways, Arsenal fans. You can't have it all. Big up Kevin Samuels, man. If you know, you know. I might even watch some Kevin Samuels tonight just to make me feel better. Rest in peace to Godfather, innit? But before I finish up, lots of love, and he's in our thoughts, Mikel Antonio, because that was a shocker to see that the pictures of the car accident he had. West Ham players, people know in the Premier League, very colourful character, very funny guy. And yeah, when you saw the photo and the wreckage of the car, and I make no bones when I say something like this, he's very lucky to be conscious after seeing the wreckage of his car. So speedy recovery to him, man. Seriously. Absolutely. And yeah, that's it, man. People, you have to look out on my social media for next bit of content. I think I will try, depending on work, to do a watch along for Arsenal Everton, but it might be a little bit tight for me to get home for that. But just keep your eyes posted out, because I'll do that on Lee Judge TV and my channel combined if possible. But yeah, man, guys, we're almost an hour in. Jesus, man. Big up to the people watching on YouTube, on Facebook, and also on the Twitter feed. I will clip this and I will put this out, on my audio for Spotify listeners and also Apple downloads as well, or wherever you get your podcasts. Apparently they don't do it on Google anymore. Is that true? I'm not too sure, but big up to you guys, man. Lucky to big up to you guys indeed. Yeah, 100% for Big Mikel Antonio. Big up to people in the chat. That is me. The only thing I've enjoyed is looking at the Christmas tree in my background as I talk to you guys, man. I try to make you guys smile, man, but it's hard when Arsenal get results like that, like they did today, man. So yeah, big up to you people, man. But if you don't know what to do by now, people, this is what you should be doing. If I can find it, where's it gone? Here you go. And there you have it, people. Smash the like button, subscribe to Albert JTV. All their listeners, get ready for when the download comes out. People that are on the social media, my social media handles are at the bottom of the screen as you watch it. And like I said, I will see you soon for another live stream on Albert JTV. Good night. God bless. Arsenal, you've got some serious work to do. Take care, people.